Depression is a very isolating thing. Pushes you away from people and makes it so that you don't want to reach out. And so the act of doing the thing that would help you most is it's like impossible. Like mental health and anxiety and depression, it's not an issue for just the people that are experiencing it, you know? It's sort of on everyone to take up arms in the fight. That should be something that's more prevalent throughout more than just the games industry. It's like every industry. So in 2017, my dad took his own life. He was the owner of his own company. He was falling on hard times, but he didn't reach out. Obviously, he was suffering from depression, and I had no idea.
One in 4 people will be diagnosed with a mental health condition in their lifetime, and yet we're still not talking about it. So we're dedicated to destigmatizing, making it okay to say, hey, I'm struggling. If there's a 1 in 4 lifetime diagnosis rate in the United States, and by the way, that number's a little conservative. There's some research that says there's a 1 in 2 lifetime diagnosis rate. Then I don't care what industry you're in, there's mental health challenges. I'm Rafael Bocamazzo, better known as Dr. B, and I am the clinical director of Take This. And I have been involved with Take This since 2014. When it comes to these issues in the games industry, they're as reticent to talk about this as anybody else. But the twist is, folks in the games industry are here because they're passionate about games. It is so easy to overextend yourself and ignore your self-care needs when you're passionate about something.
And it's really easy to feel that pressure that everyone else is working hard, and you can get in a feedback loop, right? A culture of overwork becomes self-reinforcing and self-perpetuating. I think it comes from the best place, which is that you don't want to let the person next to you down, but you have to take a step back. It's so easy to say, you know what, if he's going to stay till 7, I'm going to stay till 7. What's harder to do, but ultimately healthier to do, is to say, you know what, I've been overworking. I noticed that my coworker's overworking. I've noticed that we're all burned out. I'm going to leave at 4 and get a beer and talk about nothing for an hour, and I'm gonna make sure that person comes with me because they deserve that. It's like, you know, if you got in a car wreck and you were bleeding from your face, people wouldn't tell you to rub some dirt in it and, you know, put your 8 hours in and they get bandaged up after work. If you're not well, you're not well. It's not a personal failing. It's not an issue of character if you're unwell. I think it's so important that we as a culture, we as an industry, we as people destigmatize mental health disorders.
I'm Lindsay Peck. I've been in the game industry for 6 years. So I have a history in AAA games as well as indie development. Something that's been really interesting in learning about Take This at PAX West this year was approaching the AFK room and reading the sign on the outside that the AFK room wasn't just a quiet room. It's a place where it's calm and quiet, and there are actually people in the room that are available to help you talk about anything you might be working through during PAX, or they've also been trained by Take This to just discuss openly mental health issues. And I think that's part of a greater initiative that Take This is latching onto, which is to be more open about mental health and talking about any sort of experience or issue that someone might be going through openly and without judgment. And I think that is unfortunately a very unique position to be in, because I think even outside of the game industry, we as people kind of struggle with addressing mental health openly, because it can be hard for people to see. And the symptoms that even are visible in someone's social interactions may be sort of waved away as someone being awkward, or not feeling particularly well, or just needing some sleep, when actually those could be signs of some deep, dark areas that person might be going in their head.
Especially for people who are passionate about games and making games, you are conflicted between what's best for you and your health and your productivity, and what's perceived to be best for the team and the project. Nobody wants to be seen as letting the team and the project down for quote unquote selfish reasons. Because video games are so difficult to make, there's a creative component to them, there's a production pipeline component to them, and there's a technological component to them. When all three of these things are juxtaposed against each other, there's a lot of complexity and a lot of challenges that need to be worked out by a tight-knit group of like-minded, intelligent individuals all working towards the same goal.
I think it starts with leadership, honestly. If as leaders in our companies or in our industry, we decide that you're interested in the well-being of the rest of your employees, then making that a focus area or a goal for your company can be the first path to having a successful endeavor in treating everybody well.
And whenever people are either not aligned towards the same goal, or if it's simply a lack of understanding of how best to approach the problem, that can create large inefficiencies and large gaps in your team's ability to produce anything. And the answer most of the time when these kind of problems come up is to treat them like a fire that needs to be put out, something in the short term that just needs to be quelled, which means throwing more resources at it, and if that's not possible, stretching the resources you have a lot thinner. When that becomes an expectation, a norm, instead of the exception, because there's always going to be problems that come up, what happens is you start putting a strain on your resources, the people, the talent that's actually making the game. And unfortunately, that's not sustainable.
And the more we normalize that and accept it in the industry, the more prevalent it's going to become, and then it's just a part of it.
My name is Eve Crevichet, and I'm the executive director of Take This. It is our mission to ensure that we provide accurate and clinically backed support and resources to everyone. The best place to get support is from a therapist. And we have on our website lots of explanations of how to find a therapist and how to look for one. And there's even ways, if it feels appropriate to you, to get therapy online. We were founded by people in the game industry, for people in the game industry. Mental health challenges exist across the board, obviously. But there are specific challenges inside this industry that we need to be able to talk about. And if we can do that in the game community, that's super powerful, and it will make a big difference and be a big deal to a lot of people.